Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome along to Meadow Lane for today's pre-season friendly. Today we host York City in our final run-out ahead of the new season. Trip to Dover awaits us next weekend, but it's home comforts today at Meadow Lane. I'm glad to say that I've got the very comforting presence of Les Brad alongside me. Les, how are you today?
I'm feeling great, Nick. It's good to be back to watch the boys again. Obviously, the last time I was with you was at Alfreton, and got many of the players that were on the field that day back with us today. And then on Wednesday night, I thought we'd progressed very much, and very looking forward now to the start of the season. I think we should be right up for it.
Fingers crossed. Let's have a quick run through of the two teams then. Starting with Notts. In goal, it's number 25, Luke Pilling. Got Jake Reeves, Jim O'Brien, Enzio Baldwin, Conor Rawlinson, Damien McCrory, Dion Kelly-Evans, Jimmy Knowles, Elijah Sam, Ruben Rodriguez and Alex Lacey. Substitutes, Sam Slocum, Richard Brindley, Sam Graham, Wes Thomas, Michael Doyle, Kyle Wotton and Adam Chickson. York City, there'll be a few familiar names in there. Pete Jameson is in goal. Michael Duckworth, Scott Barrow, Sean Newton, Kieran Kennedy, Robbie Tinkler, Akil Wright, Michael Woods, Jake Cassidy, Ollie Dyson and Paddy McLaughlin. On the bench for City, Harry Flatters, Josh King, Matty Brown, Owen Gamble, Harry Spratt, Rion Potts, Charlie Jebson King, Rob Guilfoy and Alex Woolerton. So Les, final game before it gets going for real. What are you looking for from the lads today?
Well, obviously, next Saturday is the start of the season, and we want everybody to be in tip-top form. This has been, I think, is this the fifth game or the fourth game now of pre-season, where all the players now virtually have all had a look at it, and hopefully we're seeing them into the finished article. I felt watching the game on Wednesday night, the difference between the two sides, Harrogate and Notts, was that Harrogate had 4 or 5 games and looked match fit, where we took a time to get into that role. But we are getting better, and I'm pretty sure that I think everybody will be looking forward to next Saturday when we can start the season for real. It seems to have been a long time.
Certainly has felt like a while. But fingers crossed, everything goes to plan, and we are underway next weekend in Dover.
It's interesting to see in the opposition we've got a name there, that a couple of names that I recognise. One that was with us not too long ago, Jake Cassidy, came over from Wolves. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he's doing, because they had a very successful season last year, didn't they, York?
I'm sure we've got plenty of York fans watching on the stream today. I can see all of your comments, so perhaps let us know how Mr. Cassidy's got on in a red shirt. As Jimmy Knowles drops into midfield and lays the ball off for Reeves. Now it's with Baldwin, who cuts inside in typical fashion, tries to find the feet of Elijah Sam, but his pass is a little bit off target, and that gives York City the opportunity to break over the halfway line. This is Barrow. Gets it back down the left-hand side. Dion Kelly-Evans for company. Low cross comes in. Conor Rawlinson just shielding that near post area. And it means that Reeves can roll the ball into Rodriguez, who was impressive on Tuesday night against Harrogate. Jimmy Knowles, on loan from Mansfield Town, also looked good in pre-season so far. Attempted cross is blocked. And City are able to clear. As promised, Charlie Slater will be joining us halfway through the first half. Les and Charlie are splitting up the commentary duties today. Charlie in a less familiar role of co-commentator today, so we'll be interested to see how he adapts to his new position, as Jake Reeves playing that holding midfield role as Michael Doyle sits out on the bench for this first half. O'Brien switches it out to Kelly-Evans. O'Brien, of course, missing Tuesday night after failing a fitness test. Precautionary, of course, just to make sure that there's no potential problems ahead of the season start next weekend.
Hopefully we're back working now, Nick, and yeah, we've had the first 5 minutes of the game, and the lads, there's 1 or 2 new faces in there, and looking at a new system this time in midfield, and I'm quite impressed with it at the moment. We were able to get players out wide, free, and let's just see if something materialises and we can create a few chances.
Rawlinson plays the ball forward. Knowles had just come short for him. I think Rawlinson was expecting him to run the channel, so now an opportunity for City to build a attack. Long ball angled up towards Cassidy, a bit wayward. And now it's with McCrory, who made such an impressive return to action at Telford last weekend, given such a lengthy layoff. It was an all-action display from Damien in that first 45 minutes, and he'll be hoping to build on that today. Rodriguez. Baldwin. Neat one-touch passing from Knotts as they work it out to the left-hand side, where McCrory's in an advanced position. Tries to find Rodriguez, but Akil Wright is alive to the danger. McCrory tracks his man all the way across the field. But York keep possession and bring it over the halfway line with Scott Barrow. Cuts inside. Picks out Michael Woods. Woods into Paddy McLaughlin now. Now McLaughlin again. Jake Reeves shielding him. Decent opportunity for York here, but Reeves does well to scurry in there and win the ball back. And now Kelly Evans rolls it into the feet of Knowles. Knowles, certainly you'd expect him almost with his pace to be a player that runs in behind more, Les, but he's not afraid to drop in and pick the ball up from midfield, is he?
Absolutely, he's a footballer. But what I did like about him at Alfreton, he seemed to know where the ball was going to be loose in the box. He got on the end of one or two. He was a bit unlucky not to score, actually. Another day he might have got 2 or 3 goals. But, yeah, I was very impressed with Alfreton. And he likes to go back, as you say. He's always there somebody to pass the ball to. And, yeah, he looks like a good prospect for us for this season.
Certainly does. We're in the 7th minute here at Meadow Lane. It's still Notts 0, York 0. Notts with a bit of defending to do here. In comes the cross, and it's all the way to the back post. And Akil Wright misjudges his header, and Notts are able to clear the immediate danger. And Elijah Sam does his defensive duties and plays it into the right-hand channel, but the ball is just going to run out for a throw-in. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. I'm sure many of you are wondering what we're going to be doing for home matches going forward. We're still very much looking at our best sort of opportunities and possibilities to tell the story of the season as best we can to you all. And we'll be working really, really hard next week to try and finalise some plans. So as soon as we know more, we'll let you know. But it's 100% our intention to stream every home game live, and from what we gather from all the other clubs in the league, they'll be looking to stream their own home games, and I'm sure many of you saw that Dover have advertised their package for next weekend, so head over to their website for all the details, and as I say, we'll be finding a way to bring you all the action to more details to follow on that. Paddy McLaughlin just rolls the ball back into defence. York angle a lovely ball over towards Barrow over the head of Kelly Evans. Akil Wright makes a run into the area but can't be found, and now he does receive it but in an offside position. York, seems to be able to mix it up quite well, Les. They're playing the odd long ball, but they're sort of trying to suck us in, aren't they? Playing a possession game as well.
We're in that settling down period of the match, aren't we, where they're all trying to get hold of the ball, they're trying to pass it around, all get a touch and feel the situation with what the manager's asking them to do, and as you would expect, the opposition aren't going to come here and just sit back and let us play. They're going to put something into it as well, and so yeah, a bit of a game on just at the moment, Nick, but it is settling down nicely.
Here's Lacey building his minutes up after that injury he sustained in pre-season training on day 1. Rawlinson. Rodriguez. Knowles dropping deep again. Now it's O'Brien. Baldwin with an opportunity to open his legs down the right-hand side. Looking to get to the byline. And it's good defensive work there from Akil Wright, who manages to knock the ball against the Dutchman. and out for a throw-in. Adi Irwin says hello from Indonesia. Hello to you as well. 2,500 of you watching live at the minute. As the throw-in comes in from York City, Kelly Evans with the header. McCrory in possession. Lacey. Baldwin dropping deep to receive it in a bit of space to turn. Plays the ball into the channel for Knowles to run onto. He's shepherded by Sean Newton, who manages to win himself a throw-in. Just into the 11th minute at Meadow Lane, goalless, yet to have the game's first real opening. Robert Minister says good morning from Australia. Thanks for tuning in all the way over there, Robert. Kelly Evans with a physical challenge there on Akil Wright. Typical terrier-like defending from Dion. And here, now the ball's with Alex Lacey. You love to see Dion snapping into those challenges, don't you, lads?
Dion doesn't matter about, does he?
He certainly doesn't.
If the ball's there to be won, he goes for it, the lad. Well done.
Here he is again, Kelly Evans. Loves to get forward as well. Definitely an all-action type of fullback as Rodriguez picks it up in space. No options immediately ahead of him, so opts to give it to O'Brien and to Reeves, and now with Rawlinson, who knocks the ball ahead of him, decides against continuing his run. Plays it back to Reeves. And now Alex Lacey. Rawlinson. Elijah Sam tries a turn, but is just crowded out by Sean Newton and Paddy McLaughlin, and now York are able to try to build something of their own. Malcolm Shearstone, who I know is a very loyal Notts fan, asked me to say a hello to his mate Dave Stone, who's a big York fan. Hello to all the York City fans who are watching along on the stream. Apologies if it's a little bit biased today, but I'm sure you can appreciate as Sean Newton rolls the ball into midfield, but Elijah Sam is alive to the danger, intercepts Enzio Baldwin into Jimmy Knowles, dropping into that pocket once again. Knowles just lets the ball run away from him though. Haven't quite managed to get much of an attacking flow going yet, have we, lads?
No, as I say, we're sort of 12 minutes in and we're still feeling each other's way around. Getting caught in possession a little bit, maybe. We watched the game the other night and we saw a team that had had 4 or 5 games and were so crispy with everything that they did, and we're just overdoing things a little, I feel, at the moment. But hopefully it'll settle down and we'll start to see that ball moving around a bit quicker.
Lacey. Assessing his options ahead of him. Rolls it into Reeves, who's played a lovely through ball for Rodriguez, who takes it in his stride. Can he find the finish? It's an excellent one-handed save from Pete Jameson, and that was a huge opportunity for Ruben Rodriguez to get his first goal in the black and white, lads.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with Ruben. Thought he was our star man on Wednesday evening against Harrogate. These breaks down the left-hand side, and there we've seen him free himself up straight through the middle. Great chance, and the keeper's made a very good save.
He certainly looked threatening Rodriguez in pre-season. Hasn't quite managed to chip in with a goal or an assist just yet, but certainly showing his attacking worth in other ways. Ball breaks here for Sean Newton, and his speculative effort takes a deflection, and I suppose that proves the worth of having a goal there sometimes.
Yeah, I think perhaps he could have stepped aside and let it go through to the keeper. A shot from 40 yards doesn't normally go in, and I think it would have been comfortable. It's got a deflection, gone for a corner, so it's going to give our lads a little bit of thinking here how they're going to stop York from putting the ball in the net. I'm pretty sure they're much capable of doing that, though.
Yeah, it may have been 3 friendly wins from 3, but we've had plenty of defending to do in all of the games so far. As the cross comes in towards the near post, it's Conor Rawlinson with a typically dominant header, and he even cleared Dion Kelly-Evans halfway to touch there with that one. Throw into City on this near side with Scott Barrow. O'Brien and Reeves both hassling the opponent as Alex Lacey flicks it onwards towards Damien McCrory, but the ball just runs away from him, and it's now with Kieran Kennedy. Wind is swirling around the lane today, very autumnal day. And another cross comes in towards Akil Wright, and he's got up high enough to nod the ball past Luke Pilling and fire the visitors into the lead, Les.
Yes, it's quite a shock, really. Something similar to the other night. We conceded a free kick on the halfway line and a long high ball into our box, and one guy won the header, then the second guy won the header. It's in the back of the net. This time, ball played back on the far touch line, long high ball into the box, and not sure who it was that got up there. Got up with a free header and planted it right into the corner. So wake-up call to the lads. Let's hope they can respond quickly.
Yeah, it was Akil Wright with City's first real chance of the game, just a couple of minutes after Rodriguez had missed a one-on-one opportunity at the other end. So for the first time in pre-season, we're going to see what Notts have got when they want to come from behind, as Alex Lacey drifts a long ball forwards, but it splits the 2 forwards, Elijah Sam and Jimmy Knowles. Pete Jameson rolls the ball out to the fullback position. So let's see what Notts have got now from a losing position in the game. Suppose these are the sort of challenges that you want to happen in pre-season, Les. You want to be given these different situations.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure the manager will get hold of them at half-time and read the script that thing shouldn't happen. You know, it was pretty much a long looping ball that you would expect one of our lads at the back there to get on and head it clear, but the header was there in the back of the net.
Kelly-Evans, Rodriguez. Rawlinson. Not expecting a huge raft of changes at half-time today. The gaffer obviously using the opportunity to get minutes into the players he feels needs them most. So not necessarily an indication of how we will be lining up next weekend here. Manager's also spoken in the week about how he doesn't necessarily intend to persist with the diamond formation that you've seen in all of our pre-season games so far. He wants to remain flexible and to have different systems in his armoury. It's just with this one being a new system with plenty of new players, I think his intention was to just drill it home as much as he could in these friendlies. But yeah, he is tempted to be flexible once again this year, depending on our opponents, as York tried to build an attack down the right-hand side. Elijah Sam and Jim O'Brien a little bit over exuberant in their attempts to win the ball back. Just a little bit of frustration out there for Notts. Referee's actually given a throw rather than a foul. Maybe that's because Jim O'Brien shouted loudly enough at him. We never know. Elijah Sam battling for possession. Does well to dig out a pass to O'Brien, who takes a clip from an opponent but takes it in his stride. Now it's Rawlinson. Baldwin making a run ahead of him. Knowles peels off to try and receive it short. Rawlinson decides to keep the ball. Reeves lets it run for Alex Lacey. Supporters so relieved to see Lacey sign a new deal in the summer. Les, have you been impressed with what you've seen from the centre-back?
Yeah, I thought, as I say, I'd watched the Alfreton game and did commentary with you, and then the next game was on Wednesday against Harrogate, and I thought how well we'd moved on from the Alfreton game, especially with the lads at the back. I don't think we conceded any real chances other than that poor goal that we gave away just on half-time. And certainly Alex and Connell have got back to where they were sort of pre the lockdown, because I thought they were our rock at the back. They seemed to play very well together, and they've picked it up again this season, last couple of games.
Into the 20th minute here at Meadow Lane. It's Notts 0, York 1. Akil Wright with a towering header 5 minutes or so ago to put the visitors ahead. York obviously in the National League North. Wish them all the best for their season ahead. It's going to be a strange old season. None of us quite know how it will pan out. But one thing is for sure, fans unfortunately won't be in from next weekend, which is a real shame. But clubs up and down the land doing their very best to stream games. And as I mentioned earlier, that's certainly on our radar, and we'll make an announcement as soon as we have further details. Alex Lacey with a important sliding challenge on the goal scorer right there. And now Reeves slips Rodriguez in down the right hand side, but his first touch isn't good enough on that occasion, allowing Barrow to nip in. And City are able to clear. It's Jake Cassidy with the flick on, but he had no support, so now it's McCrory with an opportunity to bring it over halfway. O'Brien. Baldwin rolls it into Knowles. Knowles just misjudges his pass to Kelly Evans, but the fullback manages to keep it in play. Baldwin loses his battle with Wright, and now it's Knowles again. Notts just remaining patient here, determined to keep possession. Sam flicks it to O'Brien. Rodriguez tries to find the Scot with a first-time pass, but instead York managed to half clear. Notts keep the ball alive. It's with Reeves. Reverse pass into Knowles, first time to Baldwin. Rawlinson. Kelly Evans weighs up his options, finds Knowles, who turns, goes back towards Reeves. Notts quite happy just to try and pull York from left to right and from back to front to try and open up some space for the likes of Rodriguez and Baldwin to do their thing. Kelly Evans rolls it into Sam, back to Rodriguez. O'Brien just having to wait for that one to come to him. Opts to go back to his Portuguese teammate. Now it's with Baldwin down the right hand side. Baldwin picks out Kelly Evans in space. His first touch lets him down though, and City are able to briefly quell the danger. But here's Reeves, outside of the boot pass to Rodriguez, but he wasn't quite expecting it, I don't think, and it runs wide of the intended target. And City now have an opportunity to play their way out of a bit of pressure, and that will certainly alleviate the pressure. Elijah Sam bringing down his man, but that was a good bit of patient build up there, Les, albeit not resulting in a chance. But you've got to remain patient in these situations, haven't you?
Yeah, he seems to have a plan at the moment. The gaffer that we're going to build up play, we're going to keep possession, and we're looking for that opening. He's constantly looking for the lads up front just to do the business, and a spring here, and it creates an opening. It hasn't quite happened just yet, but I think we'll be okay.
Opportunity here for York City though. The ball breaks into space, and it's a left-footed shot curled beyond Luke Pilling, and it's a move which breaks down in midfield, and City double the lead with a fine finish, Les.
That sometimes happens when you don't pass the ball right at the back. You give it away, and there it is, back of the net.
I think it was Paddy McLaughlin. Oh no, it was actually Jake Cassidy with the finish. And it's an uphill battle for Notts now. If we're going to continue our winning habit in the pre-season friendly so far. 24 minutes on the clock at Meadow Lane, and it's with Kelly Evans. Lacey. Exchanges passes with McCrory. Rawlinson. Rodriguez just with the first time pass to Sam, and another little 1-2. Sam now to O'Brien. McCrory's an option to his left, but O'Brien decides instead to knock it onto his right foot. Doesn't catch the shot cleanly. And And it's easy for Pete Jameson in between the sticks. Here's Cassidy, the goal scorer. Reeves is all over him. It's a physical challenge on McCrory, and another physical challenge comes in there from Michael Woods, but the referee doesn't say that one's a foul, even though McCrory is looking like he may need a bit of treatment. Rodriguez decides to play on, tries to bring the ball out of midfield, but just runs away from him. McCrory's still down after that succession of physical challenges. Didn't really feel like a friendly for that 5-10 second spell, Les.
No, I'm not quite sure what happened there. It didn't look anything naughty to me. Damien was trying to get the ball, wasn't he? And I'm not sure that there was a foul. I think the referee was quite right to continue. Just unfortunate, really. But yeah, we just had a good build-up again, and got through to O'Brien. I thought he was going to stick it in the far corner. He didn't quite get it right, did he? Keeper made a comfortable save. Yeah, there's some nice passing going on out there, but we need a finish. I think that once the ball goes in the back of the net, gives everybody a lift, doesn't it? And then you can't wait to get hold of the ball and move on again.
Do you know what I think it is, Les? I think you're the bad omen, so I'm going to make a substitution in the commentary box here, I think. I'm going to ask Charlie Slater to take the hot seat, and we'll just switch over the microphones. Keep the comments coming in. I know there's a few York fans are watching. They seem pretty happy with how things are going so far. You can't blame them. Thanks to everybody as well who's had so many nice things to say about the stream. We'll continue to explore our options and see what we can do as Damien McCrory hobbles off the field and Charlie Slater hobbles into his commentary position. How are you today, Charlie?
What a fall from grace. You've gone from Notts County's all-time record leading goal scorer to not even the best well-known and most liked Slater.
We still like you though, Charlie. We still value you as a co-commentator. So how are you going to adapt to this new role today, Charlie? Because usually you're the man that's in my position. You're going to have to provide the expert analysis here.
I know, good luck with that. I think what I'll probably do is I'll just try and copy what Marcelo usually says. And failing that, when I'm lost for words, I'll look at Les to my left and see what he says.
Been told by one of my colleagues that we're not picking Charlie up at the minute, so
what about now?
Possibly now.
Can you hear me now? I feel like Peter Kay. Can you hear me now?
Possibly now that he's plugged his microphone in.
Switch microphones.
Here's Knowles on the halfway while we just try and sort out a couple of technical issues with Charlie's microphone. McCrory looks like he's moving okay, brings it over halfway and now rolls it into Sam, who's looks to try and take it to the byline, instead comes back on his right foot. McCrory infield to Rodriguez, who lets it run for Dion Kelly-Evans. Kelly-Evans into Sam, who holds it on the edge of the area. Rodriguez, now Baldwin. Baldwin just shuffles the ball onto his right foot, and his shot takes a deflection out for a corner. And have we now got Charlie Slater?
I think so. I think everybody can hear me now. That means everybody missed my hilarious gag about being swapped for the all-time record goal scorer, Les Brad, for not even the most well-liked Slater that's commentated on the football club. But don't worry, I've said it again now.
And fingers crossed you'll bring
more insight than I bring humour.
Some second half of this first half look, that's what we're after. As Enzio Baldwin stands over this corner kick, Jim O'Brien is the short option. Baldwin with both arms aloft, lays it off for O'Brien, and Rawlinson looked like he was just about to meet that at the near post, but a York defender gets his head to it. And Reeves' attempted pass breaks down in midfield. There's another opportunity now for City to break. The ball is with Robbie Weir. And now it's with Ollie Dyson. Slips it towards Paddy McLaughlin, but it just runs away from him. And it's out for a goal kick. But things just not quite happening for Notts in the attacking half of the pitch, Charlie, today.
No, it feels like pre-season still. It feels still very experimental as well. Earlier on in the game, I noticed that Enzio Baldwin started in the kind of number 10 role with Ruben to one side, Ruben Rodriguez, but they've switched since. They switched that fairly early on, which would suggest that, you know, they're still getting to grips with not only the positions but also the style of playing. Notts play an intricate style of football, a lot of build-up play, and I think that's often more difficult to come to grips with and to learn new patterns of play and formations than if you were just a long ball team. So I I kind of forgive the fact that it's a bit of a stuttering start and it hasn't been brilliant in this first half, because I'd like to think that it's one of those formations and patterns of football that will click, and once it does click, then it should be, you know, a real advantage to them in the league.
Fingers crossed. It's end of the day for Damien McCrory, though. He was just on the end of a pretty robust challenge a couple of minutes ago. He looked like he was okay when he came back on, and he's moving fairly freely as he is replaced by Adam Chickson. Perhaps just a precautionary decision from Damien and the physio there, and it's another opportunity for Adam Chickson to get minutes into his legs, and he's straight into the action with receiving a ball from Luke Pilling. Chickson back to Lacey. Now it's O'Brien. The wind swirling around the press box, causing absolute havoc with our team sheets. Rodriguez into Elijah Sam, who tries to hold off his man. Does so enough to let Ruben Rodriguez nip in, but ball runs away from the Portuguese. And now it's a midfield battle for O'Brien. Wins it. Sam plays it into central midfield, where Enzio Baldwin's in another battle with Akil Wright. Probably been City's most impressive performer so far today. Akil Wright winning the header which opened the scoring for City.
I think they've looked pretty good, in fairness to York. Looked like a well-polished outfit. Looked like they've linked. They've broken quickly, not afraid to counter-attack, and when they do, they throw men forward, and they commit to robust tackles like that there from the midfielder Michael.
Certainly been a few interesting challenges flying in. Unfortunately, Damien McCrory picked up an injury in one of them, so fingers crossed that's nothing too serious. We'll be speaking to the manager after full time, just to understand what the extent of that might be. As Lacey considers his options ahead of him and plays an angled ball towards Knowles. It's just a little bit ahead of him. And now it's with Kelly Evans with the throw-in. Rodriguez. Lacey. Rodriguez. Reeves picks up the loose ball. Looks for a run ahead of him, but instead has to turn in and play it to Baldwin on this right-hand side. Rodriguez again has space to turn. Rolls it out to Adam Chickson. Maybe Chickson just expecting a bit more pace on the ball there. Nevertheless, Notts keep the attack going. O'Brien. Kelly Evans. Just forced backwards and gives York an opportunity to break, and Kelly Evans with the cynical foul on halfway, which is probably going to see him go into the book. But again, another sign that Notts just a bit frustrated with how their attacking play is going in this first half, Charlie.
Yeah, I think that's right. But again, I think it relies upon a little bit of magic at times to break down a team the way that Notts are looking to go about it. And York are very well organised defensively. You go through that defence and, you know, Robbie Tinkler, Kieran Kennedy, Sean Newton, they're all names that are fairly established, Michael Duckworth, and so they defend as a unit well, they get men back, they make it difficult, and Notts are trying to break down that York defence in tight areas in the middle of the pitch where there are a lot of players, so you need a little bit of brilliance at that point to be able to break them down, and they're struggling to do that. We saw the virtues earlier on in this game of just having a pot shot from around 30 yards, which a couple minutes later York ultimately scored from the resulting corner. So maybe Notts need to take a little bit more of a direct route at times, try and vary it up a little bit, because at the moment it's all very nicely short stuff. I mean, that's great, but it's good to have the more direct approach at times, and maybe that's something that Notts need to explore.
Rawlinson. Heavy touch from Kelly Evans nearly gets him into trouble. It's now back with Rawlinson. Drifts the ball up towards Jim O'Brien, who takes a nice first touch, but he's offside. It's more frustration for Notts going forward as the clock ticks over towards the 35th minute.
A clean-shaven Jim O'Brien as well.
There is something different about Jim, that must be it, yeah.
I think he's had his hair cut, his beard shaved.
Maybe he's just trying to grow that stubble in for the first game of the season. Notts 0, York 2 then. Goals from Wright and Cassidy, the difference so far. Ruben Rodriguez had Notts' best chance midway through the first half. Missing a one-on-one opportunity. Good save from Pete Jameson. And Notts have struggled to break down York ever since. Here's Lacey. Rodriguez showing for it inside the D. He's got it now. Rolls it towards O'Brien, but it's a yard or so ahead of him. Woods. Cleared away by Jameson, but only as far as O'Brien, but he can't get his header in the direction of Reeves, who's in a bit more of an advanced midfield role at the minute. Perhaps in his absence, it's given Cassidy the opportunity to turn and play the ball into the right-hand channel for Ollie Dyson. He turns backwards. Notts with plenty of men behind the ball, only Knowles and Sam in advance of Michael Woods, who lays the ball off to his right, and now it's with Paddy McLaughlin. Rolls it back to Tinkler. Now Newton. Onto Barrow, who gets his cross into the middle, but it's got too much on it, and O'Brien will let it drift all the way out for a throw-in on the far side.
You can see the benefits of the 3-5-2 formation that York are playing, though, because it means that, yeah, when they're in possession and they've got the ball, those wing-backs can bomb forward and almost act as secondary wingers, bit of an overload, and throw more bodies into the opposing penalty area. But when they're out of possession, it falls back into a 5-3-2 formation, and that is one of the things that's contributing to them being so difficult to break down from a Notts perspective.
Tinkler. Now with Newton. Switch of play across towards Kennedy, and an opportunity for York to progress down the right-hand side. Woods into Cassidy. Barrow. Newton. And McLaughlin is offside, but another neat build-up from the visitors, who certainly look in good shape ahead of their National League North campaign. Reeves rolls it into Jimmy Knowles. It's a sloppy pass backwards. And York City win the throw-in. I can't imagine Neil Ardley's half-time words are going to be particularly complimentary towards his team, Charlie.
No, I was just thinking that then. I was glancing down at him and Greg Abbott, and they both cut pretty frustrated figures in this first half, and rightly so. 2-0 down at approaching half-time against a team in a league below is never exactly going to make you happy, even if it is a pre-season friendly. The last pre-season friendly before the season starts always takes on a little bit more meaning or weight in my mind, just because you ideally want to be going into the start of a new season on the back of a defeat, even if it is a pre-season game, and even if it does involve a lot of players that may not be involved at Dover, hopefully, a week today. So yeah, I would imagine that Neil Ardley will have we'll call them words of encouragement for his team at half-time, and maybe a few changes as well, perhaps.
Reeves tries a first-time pass into Knowles, but it's intercepted. And now it's with Kieran Kennedy.
Quite a few Notts players are warming up on the near touchline. Maybe getting a head start on the warm-up at half-time, which means that maybe they could feature in the second half.
Knowles tracking back to put pressure on Sean Newton, but City keep possession. It's with one of the goal scorers, Akil Wright. McLaughlin looking to drop into space, but ball is switched across to Dion Kelly-Evans' flank, and his header is in the direction of Knowles, but Newton manages to keep him at bay and keep the ball in play. Now Pete Jameson, rolls out into his defence. It's back with Newton, who aims to angle a ball over to McLaughlin. The linesman looked like he was ready to raise his flag, but he didn't in the end. And now it's an opportunity for Notts to bring the ball out of defence with Alex Lacey. Reeves is the obvious candidate. And now he turns and assesses his options ahead of him. Plays a angle ball towards Kelly Evans on that right-hand side, but just a yard or two ahead of the fullback, and it'll be a throw-in to City. 5 minutes away from half-time then. Notts 0, York 2 in this final pre-season friendly before the action gets going. We'll be off to Dover Athletic. If you didn't catch us earlier in the stream, Dover are offering a streaming package of their own. All the information is on their website, and we'll be announcing details as soon as we have them on what our offering is going to look like for the home games in the season ahead. We won't be able to do any streaming for the first home game, which is against Altrincham on the first Wednesday of the season, due to that being on BT Sport. Here's Kelly Evans, stands up his man, just tries to find the angle for the cross, but it's forced backwards, and now it's with Reeves, who plays a short ball into Baldwin, spins onto his left, and is just caught in possession on the edge of the area. And now City come away, and that move breaks down as well. Things just not happening for Notts in this first half, and we've got to hope, I suppose, that the second half will look a bit different. As Kelly Evans throws it into Reeves. Alex Lacey, who's seen plenty of the ball in this first half. He's encouraged to keep coming over halfway by O'Brien. That he does, and now it's Rodriguez in possession. Across to Kelly Evans. Rodriguez switches it up to Jim O'Brien, who cuts on his right foot and tries an angle ball over towards Rodriguez, whose touch is a little bit heavy. Runs out for a goal kick, and it remains Notts 0, York 2, Charlie.
I've seen Notts try to do that a few times, and I think that's one of the things that Neil Ardley's got his team working on, is that third man run from midfield. When you're playing the number 10 in behind two front men, there is always that option to try and ghost the number 10 into the penalty area at last minute, and I've seen Ardley encourage Rodriguez to do that. I've seen him encourage Jim O'Brien to make that last minute ghosting third man run as well. Obviously O'Brien now having to track back in more of his defensive duties, but that's going to be an option for them with this diamond formation that they're sticking with at the minute.
Sam with an opportunity to run down the left hand side, couple of step overs, cuts inside, passes it to Reeves, who has a bit of space ahead of him, tries the reverse pass towards Sam. A little bit ambitious, that one, I think, and it runs out for a goal kick.
They're just trying to be a little bit too cute at times, trying to overcook the gumbo, which is an American expression, I'm led to believe. They're just trying to do too much at times, and I spoke about it about 7 or 8 minutes ago. There's no harm in having a go from 20-25 yards. It's a windy day, swirling around out there. It is pre-season, so the pressure's off a little bit. I know they're trying to work on patterns, and I know they're trying to work on the intricate stuff. But there's, as I say, there's a virtue to mixing it up as well and being a bit more direct at times.
Jameson with the goal kick goes all the way out for a throw-in, despite Dion Kelly Evans' best efforts to get his head on it. 3,300 of you watching the stream. I'm sure plenty of York fans have joined us.
I thought York had been really good in this first half.
Yeah, there's certainly, if there are a few York fans watching, which I'm sure there are, I'm sure you'll be encouraged with what you've seen so far, and we wish you the best for the season ahead as Rawlinson collects the ball and brings it towards the halfway line. Sam just decides to keep hold of it instead of laying it off to Rodriguez, and now Baldwin has it. Back to Rawlinson. Baldwin again. Kelly Evans caught in possession. And it'll be Dion to take the subsequent throw in. Rawlinson. Lacey over to Chickson, replacing Damien McCrory earlier in the half. McCrory on the end of a robust challenge and was unable to continue despite having another couple of minutes on the field after receiving treatment. Here's O'Brien on the edge of the area, angles across towards Sam, but it didn't really have the height. And York are able to clear the immediate danger. There's an opportunity now for Kelly Evans to lay it off to Baldwin. What can Enzio produce here? Cuts onto his left, tries a low cross, but no real quality in the delivery. It's been lacking all half, to be honest, from Notts in the final third. Plenty of possession, and we've got into those areas on a number of occasions, but yet to really challenge City's defenders and the goalkeeper Pete Jameson. Ruben Rodriguez was played through one-on-one with Jameson at 0-0, but the keeper produced a really strong save, and it looks like that's going to contribute to York City going in 2-0 ahead at the break.
Neil Ardley's seen enough. You saw the fourth official put his board up, and he's already gone down the tunnel to get ready for the ear bashing of his players.
Jameson with the free kick on that far side then. Lacey wins his header and it breaks into midfield. Now what can Notts do? Can we just find something before half time? Here's Reeves.
He's got to release that sooner.
Finds it. Dean Kelly Evans to his right. Reeves again.
You've got 4 or 5 players in front of him there, Jake Reeves, and instead he runs the ball 40 yards when he could knock it long. Gives
Baldwin.
the York players time to get back.
O'Brien switches it out to the left-hand side. Adam Chickson. The ball just looks like it caught in the wind a little bit there, and he had to take his time to get his touch in. Here's Lacey. Rawlinson tries to find Sam in his long legs, managed to keep the ball under control. Back with Sam, but just runs under his foot. And that'll be that for the first half. So it's a frustrating first 45 of the final pre-season friendly for Notts. There's goals from Akil Wright and Jake Cassidy. See the Minster men go in to half-time ahead. We'll take a 10-15 minute break and we'll be back with the second half. Join us then. Welcome back to Meadow Lane. It's a blustery, I wouldn't say bitterly cold, but it's pretty chilly. And it's been a bit of a cold first half performance from Notts as well. 2-0 down here at home to York City in our final pre-season match before we head to Dover next weekend. Delighted to say that both Charlie Slater and Les Brad are with us. Charlie's going to do the first half of the second half, and then Les is going to see us through to full time. Charlie, a couple of changes to talk about.
Yeah, Michael Doyle coming on and Sam Graham as well. Reeves and Rawlinson are the men that have been replaced. I think it was always the plan, wasn't it, to, at this stage of pre-season, just get a certain amount of minutes into legs. But that being said, I think the presence of Michael Doyle, that leadership in the middle of the park, would probably do Notts no harm in this second half. I think they lacked a certain intensity in the first half, particularly going forward with the ball. And Michael Doyle is nothing if he's not intense.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure Neil Ardley will be hoping for more from his men, but as Charlie alluded to, it is all about the minutes at the minute. The manager and his fitness staff have all been carefully calculating how many minutes the lads have been playing so far in pre-season. And the gaffer said to our friend Lee Curtis in yesterday's press conference that there was no temptation from him to try out the formation or the starting lineup that will be in place for Dover next Saturday. So again, this is all about topping up the minutes for everybody who needs them.
Although I would say even in these early stages in that first half, Notts played a diamond, it looks more like 4-3-3 in the early stages of the second half, with the three up front being Sam, Enzio and Jimmy Knowles by the look of things.
And based on the gust of wind that's just blown through the press box and the direction in which our team sheets have flown, it looks like Notts will have the wind behind them in this second half.
I think that is correct.
So fingers crossed that'll serve as well, as Ruben Rodriguez makes a good challenge.
He's hurt himself.
But it looks like he might have just jarred his knee or done something to his leg in making that challenge. He hasn't gone down, but Marco the physio is heading over to him. Fingers crossed that's nothing too serious. We've already lost Damien McCrory to what looked like a contact injury after a fairly robust challenge. Rodriguez just receiving a bit of treatment there from Marco the physio. Looks like he's going to be able to at least try and run it off or jog it off. Neither him nor the physio look particularly concerned. So a bit of an early scare. Obviously we had the scary sight of Cal Roberts being stretchered off as well on Tuesday night.
Oh, that was scary.
Luckily it sounds like Cal will be okay. There's no serious injury in there in terms of ligament damage or any breaks or anything. The gaffer confirmed in the week, so we're hoping to have Cal back with us sooner rather than later. We'll obviously keep you all posted on that across the club's digital channels as soon as we have more news. Just under 3,000 of you watching live right now. As Sam Graham, the second half substitute, wins his header. Jimmy Knowles is unable to keep it in play on that far side. Expecting a few more changes later in the half, just to give some extra rolls the ball towards Graham, just a little bit undercooked, which means Graham has to rush his clearance with Jake Cassidy, one of the goal scorers, in hot pursuit.
You wonder what's going to be a good result out of this now for Notts County. 2-0 down, yeah, it's pre-season. I'll break off and let you do this bit.
Opportunity for York to put the ball into the box. Carry on, Charlie.
Well, you just wonder what's a good result if you're 2-0 down, and I know it's pre-season and so pre-season only matters but so much, the results, but as I mentioned in the first half, it is It is your last pre-season game before the season starts, and that's going to be a free kick every day of the week. And you never want to really lose that last game before the season starts because you want some semblance of momentum. And I know different people, depending on who you talk to, give pre-season games sort of varying amounts of credence and credibility. Some say it's a glorified training session, and some say it's a bit more than that. I'd like to think, given the tackles that have been flying in and the fact that Notts have lost Amy and McCrory in this game to a contact injury in that first half, that it certainly matters a little bit more than a training session. What about trying to get a little bit of momentum going? I think they've certainly switched up the intensity in the second half. They've switched up their formation. It's definitely a 4-3-3 that they're playing, with Sam being the furthest forward of the three, with Enzio and Jimmy Knowles to his right.
And that was Elijah Sam just trying to switch the play, but York man getting in the way just to keep us at bay for now. Luke Pilling rolls it into the feet of Michael Doyle, who, as Charlie alluded to, will I'm sure be looking to spark Notts into life in typical fashion.
There's no glorified training session in his head. He goes 100% in every single session.
Yeah, he won't be happy to be coming on at a time where his team are 2-0 down, that's for sure. Just tries to roll the ball into Enzio Baldwin's feet, but the Dutchman had made the run in behind rather than coming short. And now it's back with the City keeper, Jameson. Launches it towards Adam Chickson, who's up nice and early and wins the header. O'Brien applying the pressure, but City managed to work their way out of trouble.
That's neat from York.
Rodriguez and Kelly Evans conspiring now to win the ball back for Notts. Here comes Michael Doyle in the D. Looking to his left where Jim O'Brien lays it forward for Chickson, who moves it onto his right and plays the ball in for Elijah Sam, but he just doesn't get up. Gets underneath it a bit there, Elijah Sam, with one of our best openings of the game so far, Charlie.
He's got to do better for me. You know, that you would think is right in his wheelhouse. He's 6'5", 6'6". He's got a free header largely from around the penalty spot, and you know, mistimed his jump, perhaps didn't get up properly, but it's a really poor header, and yeah, for me, he should do better with that.
Sam still waiting for his first goal in the black and white, just as is Ruben Rodriguez, who missed our best chance of the game in the first half when he went through 1-on-1 with the scores locked at 0-0, as Alex Lacey challenges Cassidy.
And he got to work the goalkeeper at least with such a good opportunity. I know we're only just learning about what sort of strengths Elijah Sam has, but you would think a man of his height is going to be utilised as a bit of a target man, and target men often come with good heading ability, so maybe that was just a poor effort, and there's better to come.
Baldwin just showing his defensive willingness there to knock the ball out for a throw-in. York City with an opportunity to build something here. It's Paddy McLaughlin with a good strike. Luke Pilling diving to his right-hand side to make the save, and another good one-handed save from Pilling. And York still keep the ball alive. It's with Oliver Dyson, who swings it into the middle. Dion Kelly-Evans having to head the ball clear. Jimmy Knowles tries to hold it up in midfield, but he's just crowded out. And two important saves there from Luke Pilling, Charlie.
Yeah, that was like goalkeeping practice, the way that he was able to make one save to his right-hand side and then was quickly back up on his feet again and made a good diving save away to his left with his kind of opposite hand, if you will, diving to the left but saving with the right hand. A couple of good saves, couple of good efforts as well, and York again show their willingness to just have a pop. As we mentioned that first half, it's windy, so why not?
It certainly is windy. Every time I try and check my team sheet to tell you which York player is in possession, it seems to blow the wrong way for
right
me.
Down that left-hand side, wasn't it, getting to the byline and managing to sneak the ball in.
Yeah, York manager Steve Watson will no doubt be very, very pleased with what he's seen from his team, as I'm sure all the York fans who are watching live with us right now, there's 3,200 of you tuned in here on our YouTube channel. Thank you to everybody. Hope you've enjoyed the stream today. And for all the Notts fans watching, I sincerely hope we're able to bring you some goal-mouth action in this second half, as Jim O'Brien applies the pressure to Michael Duckworth. Lacey wins the header. Now it's with Doyle. Looks for the long ball over the top, but instead rolls it to his left for Adam Chickson. Chickson into the feet of Knowles, who takes it in his stride and now looks to take it past his man. Good strength from the 18-year-old on loan from Mansfield. Tries to flick it inside of Robbie Tinkler, but the defender does well, and York are able to win a throw in.
Notts a bit more readily looking to be a touch more direct in the early stages of this second half. What's got to happen is the ball's got to stick better when it does reach those front three, because at the moment, every time the midfield give the ball to the front three, they lose it before the midfield can get forward and support, which means the likes of Rodriguez, Jim O'Brien aren't really getting into the game at the moment, as here come York again with another counter-attack, and there's a lot of space on that far side.
There is a lot of space, and it's Scott Barrow who doesn't manage to take the ball in his stride, and lets Notts off the hook a little bit there.
I think he was possibly already thinking about what he was going to do with the ball before he controlled it.
Reminds me of what I'll probably be doing in Sunday League tomorrow when I'm steaming down the left-hand side.
You're still insisting on playing that?
Try my best. Free kick to Notts on halfway. Michael Doyle rolls it to the right-hand side for Graham, who just brings it forward into that space. Decent cross from Graham. Sam takes it on his chest, and we'll just need to hold it up and wait for a little bit of support. Back to Graham, who's in that right wing-back role at the minute, helping Dion Kelly-Evans out. Kelly-Evans rolls it into O'Brien. One touch stuff here from Notts. I think Kelly-Evans' pass was intended for Rodriguez, but instead it rolls to Chickson. And now it's with the skipper, Michael Doyle, angles it over to Kelly-Evans, who's offside, and the referee will blow for that. So more attacking frustration for Notts. Not quite happening today. Still plenty of time left in the game. Midway through the half, we'll be welcoming club legend Les Brad back onto the commentary scene. And then it'll be normal service resumed in terms of commentary from next weekend with Charlie and Mark Stallard on BBC Radio Nottingham. For those of you who will be listening on iFollow, don't forget also Dover are offering a live stream as well. All the information, I believe, was released on their website yesterday, so maybe after full time, head over there and check out how you can follow the action next weekend. And as I said earlier in the stream, we are still reviewing our opportunities and what's available to us in terms of bringing our league matches, our home league matches to you live. Streaming is certainly something that we are very, very keen to do. So we'll be bringing you updates on that as and when we have them.
Mate, you're offside. Elijah Sam just tracking back onside from an offside position. He was about 10 yards off, I think. Got a bit of a laugh out of Les Brad away to my left-hand side.
Just a bit of pre-season confusion for the new signing. Keep your comments coming in on the stream today. We'll do our best to read them out as and when they come in. As Jake Cassidy, scorer of York's second goal, a nicely taken finish.
Well, definitely left the goalkeeper no chance whatsoever.
And yeah, that doubled the advantage after Akil Wright had risen highest in the box to head the ball home. Here is Wright. His first time pass had a lot of power on it, but York managed to control it and win a corner.
Never afraid to hit it, though, are they? They're never afraid to hit it. As soon as they get an opportunity, a sight of goal, they do hit it, and that means that, you know, they've a number of set pieces in and around that Notts penalty area, which allows them to get their big men forward. And they are big as well, you know, you kind of burly centre-halves that are able to get forward and throw their weight around, which is what they're going to try and do here from this corner.
Taken short. It's coming back to Scott Barrow. Loops it into the area. Sam Graham with the defensive header. Now it's Rodriguez. Kept alive, though, by York City. And there's appeals for a penalty. The referee is unmoved.
Thought it could have been a penalty. Thought Dion had just clattered into the back of him just as the York player was about to head it goalwards, and it was, I mean, really poor defending that led to that opportunity there. I think it was Ollie Dyson at the back post who was unmarked. The Notts players had already tried to press up, and as the ball came back into that penalty area, nobody was home.
Lacey, long ball over the top towards O'Brien. First time pass in field towards Baldwin, but it's intercepted, and now it's with Michael Woods. Woods rolls it to Kieran Kennedy, who's the right back, but the ball doesn't stick up top, and now it's Michael Doyle in control of things. O'Brien over halfway. Back to Doyle. Doyle tries to pick out Jimmy Knowles, but the ball just squirms underneath him, and Robbie Tinkler is able to play it back to Jameson, who clears it upfield towards Alex Lacey. Chickson does really well to keep the ball in, and now it's back with Doyle. Graham came on at half-time for Conor Rawlinson. A planned change. No injury to Rawlinson, although there was one injury in the first half to Damien McCrory. We think it was a contact injury after a physical challenge, but we'll ask the manager, obviously, after full-time to clear that one up, as Jim O'Brien angles the ball over the top for Jimmy Knowles, who tries a first-time shot. Perhaps it just got caught in the wind a little bit. Always a tricky finish. But nevertheless, a decent ball over the top from O'Brien there, Charlie.
So much better, so much better. You know, you see what a little bit of direct play as well, and varying the short stuff with a slightly longer stuff at times. A really good ball from Jim O'Brien. He is able to pick out a pass, and he picks that one out from kind of midway through the York half, floats it up over the top, and you know, Jimmy Knowles will be disappointed that he didn't do better and at least hit the target and work the goalkeeper. Change here for York, meanwhile.
Yeah, I think that's Ollie Dyson coming off, and it's
still angry that he didn't get a penalty a few moments ago. I mean, it might be pre-season, but he's having a word with the lino.
Yeah, so Brown for Dyson then. On the hour mark, Jameson launches the ball forward. Alex Lacey in a good position to let the ball run behind him, which Chickson latches onto, plays a 1-2 with Pilling, and now it's Lacey again. Rolls it ahead of the Zimbabwe international. Made his debut in 2018 against Zambia. Qualifies, I believe, through his father. As the ball loops back over the Notts defence, Michael Doyle's there to sweep it up. Chickson again. Last at Bolton. It's a surprise to him that he was released, and a surprise to a lot of the Bolton fans whose comments I was reading after he signed. Sounds like he might well be a very good capture for us. Played most of his career in League One, and a bit of Championship football in there for him as well. Alex Lacey, another man who's well versed to not only success at National League level, but also impressing at levels above as well. O'Brien, another man with experience in the Football League, and Doyle, we all know about his career, sweeps the ball towards Enzio Baldwin, but the ball runs free, and York managed to move it forwards. But Graham steps out of his centre-half role and just mops up the mess, and now it's an opportunity for Chickson to bring it into an advanced position. Jimmy Knowles spins away from his man, but Chickson instead rolls it back to Michael Doyle. Doyle with an angled ball in towards Sam, who chests it down towards Knowles. Knowles just weighing up his options, keeps the ball. Jim O'Brien now on the edge of the D, fakes the shot, turns onto his left foot. Now it's with Chickson. Chickson whips the ball in. Sam can't quite get up to it, and it's going to run out to Dion Kelly-Evans on the right-hand side. Rodriguez, who's not seen much of the ball in this second half, turns on it, sees Jim O'Brien racing towards him, plays a bit of a shaky 1-2 with the Scot, and now the danger is over as York look to launch an attack of their own down the left, and Dion Kelly-Evans is penalised.
You see Notts are now going a little bit more direct as they are going into that penalty area, and as they do so, that is starting to leave Ruben Rodriguez as almost the odd man out. He was on the ball quite a lot in that first half when they were playing a lot of the patient build-up play, and I guess he has to be careful not to become a bystander when Notts do start to go a little bit more direct. It's Jim O'Brien and Michael Doyle that are pulling all the strings in that midfield at the moment, which is just leaving Rodriguez a little bit unemployed at times, so has to find another way of getting himself involved in the game if Notts are going to try and make a few skip passes and a few longer balls into the penalty area.
Charlie Slater on co-commentary duty.
I don't really know what I'm doing, if I'm honest. I'm usually the other way around. I don't have to usually actually come up with anything insightful. I just say what I see.
You sound fairly convincing to me.
Oh, good.
As the ball runs loose for Enzio Baldwin. Now an opportunity for Notts to potentially pounce on a York mistake. It's Jimmy Knowles looking for a shot from range. It's blocked, but it's picked up by Ruben Rodriguez. Rejects the opportunity to give it to Dion Kelly-Evans. It's a crossfield ball towards Elijah Sam, which just looks like it gets caught in the wind. And it's a good-looking opportunity, which goes begging, unfortunately, for Notts there.
Changes on the way. As you can see down in the dugout, likes of Brindley and Wootton and
Thomas, Kyle Wootton and Sam Slocum all looking set to enter the fray.
I think it's fair to say those are the sort of players that are going to give a fairer reflection of where Notts are in pre-season. There are men out there today that aren't going to feature at Dover next week.
Yeah, many of them obviously not out there because the gaffer feels and the fitness team feel that they are game ready.
You'd think it's going to be pretty straight swaps. Brindley for Dion Kelly-Evans at right fullback. Perhaps Carl Wootton for Elisha Sam and Wes Thomas for maybe Jimmy Knowles or Enzio Baldwin. Notts are at their best, sorry, Nick. Notts are at their best when they play through the lines as well, when they try and play through those tight lines in midfield as they've just done again there with Rodriguez out to Chickson.
Chickson with the cross, too high for Enzio Baldwin, and City managed to clear again. Doyle with a good first-time pass out to Kelly-Evans, though. He's got time to turn and weigh up his cross. In it comes, and it's not the best delivery, and that's been the story of Notts' game so far, just a lack of quality in that final third, and struggling really to carve out any clear-cut opportunities.
But I think they look better doing what they're doing at the moment, where you get the ball out to those wide positions, you get the balls into the penalty area. Jim O'Brien and Michael Doyle Jim O'Brien in particular has started to come alive since he's got his mate Doyle in there with him as well, and they look more dangerous. They look like they're going to get more attempts on goal playing this way with the 4-3-3 than perhaps what they did in that first half when they had the diamond. Quality of players probably improved as well, having Michael Doyle in the middle.
66 minutes gone. It's still Notts 0, York 2. Goals from Wright and Cassidy in the first half, putting the Minster men ahead. Here's Chickson. Lacey. Doyle rolls it into O'Brien. He's got time to turn and switches it across towards Ruben Rodriguez. Rodriguez with a drop of the shoulder, just to buy him some more space. Plays a 1-2 with Knowles, and now it's into Sam. Another 1-2 back towards Sam, who does his best to win the 50-50 with Wright, but it just balloons up off the York man and sparks a counter-attack down the left-hand side for City. Dion Kelly-Evans tracking his man, and in comes a low cross, and it's good covering defended by Sam Graham, and now Michael Doyle has an opportunity to bring it through midfield. Referee just halts play after Doyle had a bit of a clash with Robbie Tinkler. Just having a few words with both players. And as we gear up for 3 changes in the Notts lineup, I think we'll have a change in the commentary box. Charlie, thank you very much.
Thank you
for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you down on the Kent coast next weekend.
Yeah, better set off now. It's not a short distance, is it? So Les.
Not substitutions then. Dion Kelly-Evans is coming off, as is Elijah Sam and Enzio Baldwin. And on come Wes Thomas, Richard Brindley and Kyle Wootton. So that trio have 23 minutes or so to affect the game as best they can. Wootton and Thomas obviously in good goal scoring form in pre-season so far. And let's see what sort of an impact they can have in terms of causing York City problems, because Les, to be honest, we've not really managed to create many clear-cut chances today.
In my view, I think we've probably got 3 or 4 really good opportunities that have not been finished in the right way. We've been a bit scrappy today. Scrappy, probably the right word. I've seen, and some of the chances that we've had should have done better. Let's hope that Carl and Les can sort that out. We finish up in the back of the net.
Fingers crossed. Doyle swings the ball over towards Wes Thomas, but it hasn't quite got enough on it. And now it's Akil Wright looping the ball up into the air. Out for a throw-in on this near side. Adam Chickson will be the man to take it. Alex Lacey just drops off into his own half to give him the option, and that's what he takes. Now it's with Doyle. Rodriguez. into Knowles. Kyle Wootton just holds the ball up, and now Richard Brindley's trying to get involved in the attack, and it just loops up off him and into the hands of the York City keeper. 21 minutes of normal time remaining. Launched high into the air by Jameson. Sam Graham just mopping up the ball in behind. Jake Cassidy was the man challenging him, but it's gone out for a Notts throw on that far side. Rodriguez just tries to turn on the narrow side and take it down that right hand side, but York City win the throw. Three and a half thousand of you watching at home. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Hope you've enjoyed the stream. One more change for Notts as Sam Slocum trots onto the field. Luke Pilling, who's albeit beaten twice, he made two good saves earlier in the second half as well. His afternoon's over. Sam Slocum, who you would expect will be the man to start at Dover next weekend, as would Kyle Wootton, who's challenging up front, and now it's Wes Thomas with an opportunity to bring the ball down on the edge of the area. It just hung up for him a little bit, but he's kept control of it well. And decides not to lay it off, and takes the ball into the area, cuts it into the middle, and I tell you what, it was a good ball. Jimmy Knowles had just peeled off the wrong way there, Les. Unfortunate.
Just summed up what's been going on. Hopefully, this afternoon, you know, we've had some tremendous opportunities to score, and that final control, pass, whatever you want to call it, that was a great ball back, and let's say Jimmy had gone to the near post, and it was put back to the 6-yard line.
Corner to Notts. I think we might just have lost Les's microphone lead temporarily. It looks like it's going to be Ruben Rodriguez to whip the ball in. It's a good delivery, a flat delivery, and it's kept alive at the back post. Here's Michael Doyle, swings it towards the back stick, but it lands on the roof of the net, and the skipper won't be particularly happy with that. Notts 0, York City 2. Should we try and get a mic check from Les?
Yeah, we're back working again.
Sounds like we're back working. A couple of microphone issues in the second half here, so apologies for all of you at home. You're having to listen to more of me than you probably bargained for, as Adam Chickson brings it over the halfway line. Back
Mended the mic,
Lacey.
let's hope we mend the passes.
Well, fingers crossed. Here's Doyle. Ball over the top for Thomas to run onto. Kieran Kennedy shepherds the ball back to his goalkeeper though. Gaffer giving some instructions to his team as Jameson rolls the ball out ahead of him and clears it over halfway. Alex Lacey is challenged for it, and Adam Chickson's there to roll it back to Slocum. Now Brindley into Doyle. Graham to Lacey. Chickson. Exchanges passes with O'Brien. It's back with the Scot. Now finds or tries to find Wes Thomas, but it just runs in front of him. Rodriguez nips in to win the ball in midfield, and Doyle tries to play a ball over the top. Wootton just helps it on towards Jimmy Knowles, who evades a challenge. Knowles with the cut back. The York defender just gets his toe to it and prevents Kyle Wootton from getting it. But there's another good opportunity there for Notts.
Final ball once again, Nick. I say another day, could be 5 or 6 goals. It just hasn't happened today. All part of pre-season, getting ready for that big game. Let's hope that next week it all clicks in and we hit the ground running. It's just not happening today.
Yeah, I think a York defender just got that slightest of touches on that cut back there, which prevented Kyle Wootton from an opportunity to bag another pre-season goal. Not certainly knocking on the door in this second half, though. In comes the corner. Alex Lacey rises highest at the back stick, but he was always up against it there and fails to turn it on target. Another couple of changes coming for York City. It's going to be Josh King and Alex Woolerton coming on. It's Kieran Kennedy coming off, and potentially Michael Woods, I think. Apologies to any City fans watching who are going to tell me otherwise, but can't quite see the numbers from this position in the press box. 15 minutes to play then. Les Brad on commentary duty with me. We'll talk you through the last throws of pre-season for both of these teams as Sam Graham just loses out. And York City are able to mount an attack down this right-hand side. Brindley intercepts and uses his pace to bring the ball forward. Jimmy Knowles down the right-hand side, running at his men, tries to roll it across to Ruben Rodriguez. Can't, again, as Les alluded to earlier, can't just find that final pass. And City try to work the ball away from danger, which they do. It's Paddy McLaughlin who takes charge of it. It's switched across now to Michael Duckworth. He lets it run out for a throw, and now it's Alex Lacey for Notts. Graham slips the ball through to Rodriguez, who made a good run, and now he squares it towards Wootton, but again, the ball's just a yard or two off target, Les.
Just that final ball again, isn't it? You know, creating some really good openings, but that's that final ball is letting us down.
Wootton does well to win the ball, but it just runs away from him under pressure, and now it's an opportunity for McLaughlin to spread it out to that left-hand side. McLaughlin again. Referee pulls play up for a free kick when I think the advantage was probably more what Sean Newton was looking for, Les.
Well, the lad gets the ball, runs away, and the referee's pulled him back. I don't get that, but modern day football, Nick.
Can't imagine Les Brad would have been too happy if that decision had gone against him in his playing days. Free kick to City then. It's going to be up to Alex Lacey to challenge Cassidy for it. The York man won the flick on, but now it's with Thomas. O'Brien just loses out. And now it runs all the way through to Chickson again. Thomas pulled off into a wide position. Graham. Brindley into Rodriguez. Rodriguez shielding the ball and wins the free kick. Now there's an opportunity for Notts to potentially play a ball into the area, but Rodriguez instead decides to play it to Alex Lacey. Rodriguez just hobbling a little bit after taking that free kick as Jim O'Brien weaves into midfield. Knowles. Rodriguez tries a flat cross towards the near post, evades Knowles, and now Michael Doyle with a physical challenge, keeps the ball alive, keeps it moving in the right direction for Notts, but we have lost out, and away come City down this right hand side. Wes Thomas racing back and fouling, and again a few signs of frustration out there for Notts, Les.
Yeah, I don't think it's as bad as as what he's making out. The fullbacks there just made a break down the right hand side, and Wes has chased him back, and probably was a foul, but nothing serious. Yeah, we're not quite on it today. I don't know what's going on. Just passes going astray at the wrong time. Final decision making not quite there. But certainly created enough chances today.
Sam Graham gets his head to it, and Alex Lacey just shields the ball back to Slocum. Adam Chickson bombs down the left-hand side, tries to play it into the channel for Kyle Wotton, but it's intercepted, and it'll be a throw-in instead. 11 minutes of normal time remaining here at Meadow Lane, as O'Brien controls and lays it off to Michael Doyle. Chickson back to Lacey, but it's too much on it. I don't think Lacey was quite expecting it to come in with that much fizz. And another bit of scrappy play from Notts, getting it out of our systems, we hope, ahead of next weekend's season opener at Dover. Throw into York City, which will be taken by the substitute, Josh King. Chickson heads the ball up into the air and wins the loose ball. Now it's Michael Doyle battling for it, manages to hack it clear. Couldn't get it as far as Kyle Wotton, who's now challenging King for possession. Wotton now hunting down Matty Brown, who's forced back to Jameson. Lacey meets it with a header. And York are quite happy to let it roll out for a throw-in before they make another change. I think this is Owen Gamble coming on for Michael Duckworth. Confusingly, they've both got the number 2 on, so I'm assuming that Gamble is replacing Duckworth. I think that is the case. And this is King, the fellow substitute. Rodriguez hunts him down, but York managed to play their way out of trouble, which they've done well all game, to be fair, Les. They've looked composed in possession and threatening in attacking areas as well.
Yeah, don't quite get it today, Nick. We're a week away from our first big game, and it just seems a little bit more like still going down the practice match game. You know what I mean? It's not, the intensity's missing, isn't it? For me, I don't know what you feel about it, but
O'Brien lofts the ball forwards. I mean, the manager was quite clear before the game. In his press conference, he said that today was all about topping up people's minutes. It's not necessarily a reflection on the system or the lineup for next weekend. So, you know, that's clearly the way him and his fitness staff have seen the game.
Yeah.
And it's not been, you know, all negative, I suppose. There've been a few openings and some good play, as Jimmy Knowles tries to carve out an opportunity, but doesn't get his shot right. But yeah, no, I know what you're saying, Les, completely. It's obviously not been the most sort of flowing of performances, but
no, we're working hard. As I say, it is still pre-season, and I'm looking for a group of players that's going to go out there next week at Dover and come back with a victory, and we're just not quite there yet for me. Sort of all over the pitch. It's just
it hasn't quite flowed, should we say?
Not quite flowed, no. But we have had great opportunities and a little bit more composure. Little bit more devilment, bang, it's in the back of the net. Let's hope we're saving them for next week.
Fingers crossed. We'll be hearing from the gaffer after the game. I'm sure he'll explain what he saw out there today. Still 7.5 minutes of normal time remaining as Slocum rolls the ball out to Sam Graham. Brindley plays it back towards Lacey. I think it just holds up in the wind, and it's an opportunity for York to make it 3, and that's for sure is a goal that the manager will not be happy with, Les.
I think that summed up the game, to be honest, Nick. You know, it's that there's been too much of that for me today.
Yeah, it was a pass from Richard Brindley towards Alex Lacey, which just didn't have the sufficient pace on it, and it allowed the York man to steal in and finish beyond Sam Slocum. So it's Notts 0, York City 3. Here's Graham. Looks to switch the play up towards Wes Thomas, but defender gets around him and keeps it alive. Here's O'Brien now. Wootton twisting and turning, looking to make something happen. Rolls it off to Graham, who's come into the York City half to offer another option. Wootton, Knowles, Rodriguez. Just tries to thread a ball through for Jimmy Knowles, but they weren't on the same wavelength there, and it runs all the way through to Jameson. Still over 3,000 of you watching live from home. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in throughout pre-season. It's been good fun bringing you all of our matches so far. And as I said earlier in the stream, we will be communicating with you all what our plans are for streaming the games going forward. As Sam Graham angles the ball towards Wes Thomas. Will it be a corner or will it be a goal kick, referee? Goal kick, he says. As we enter the last 5 minutes or so here at Meadow Lane, a freezing cold Meadow Lane. It's been a windy afternoon, and it's been a difficult afternoon for Notts. Went into the break 2-0 down, and haven't managed to break down the Minstermen, who have just added a third following a defensive mix-up. A week passed from Richard Brindley, left Alex Lacey in no man's land and allowed York to, you'd have to say, put the game beyond doubt. But it's not all about the score. The gaffer keen to give everybody as many minutes as possible. Obviously we're missing a few players still. Casper Sloth unavailable, Ben Turner and Cal Roberts. All of them have been training, well, other than Cal Roberts, who's obviously was injured on Tuesday night, but we're hopeful that he won't be out for too long. As Rodriguez brings the ball over halfway, the ball just runs away from him though, and now it's an opportunity for Jameson to make the clearance for York. Swirls in the wind, and Sam Graham just watches it back towards Sam Slocum, who rolls it out to Adam Chickson on this left-hand side. O'Brien round the corner for Thomas, and he gives it back to O'Brien, who nicks it away to Michael Doyle. Doyle into Wootton, good first touch. Wes Thomas making the overlapping run. The ball runs away from Wootton, but he gets a bit lucky and it stays alive. Here's Thomas, just takes it towards the byline. Can he find the cross? He can. Jimmy Knowles does really well to keep it alive, just snatches at his shot though, and Jameson makes the save, Les.
Yeah, really good attack, wasn't it? Come down, Kyle holds it up, puts Wes in, and good ball to the far post, and young Knowles there just a little bit unlucky. Summed up the day. So many off chances that's just not happened again. They say there's still a lot of work to go on through training this week. I don't know whether the manager knows who he's going to be picking next week, but there's places up for grabs, I think, from what we've seen, Nick. You know, good opportunities for the players to put in a spurt and claim that shirt for next week.
Yeah, one of those players that we're obviously unsure of is Cal Roberts. Gaffer and his medical team will be assessing him next week. Here's Gamble. Cross comes in. Slocum was tempted to come for it, but he left it to Alex Lacey instead. Doyle. Chickson across to Brindley, who will be really disappointed with the sloppy pass that let York in for the third, unlike Richard, that is, as he brings it further down this right-hand side. Rodriguez is the closer option, but Brindley opts for Wootton instead, but Matty Brown does well to snuff out that danger, and it's a goal kick. Just another example there of things not quite working for Notts in the final third. Things just haven't gone our way. And there'll be plenty, I'm sure, that the gaffer will have to work on with the lads in the week running up to our season opener at Dover next week. Been a largely successful pre-season. We'd won our 3 games before this, Ilkeston, Alfreton and Telford. But it's been a difficult afternoon for us this afternoon, as Sam Graham wins the header, which Rodriguez controls on halfway. Now it's O'Brien. Doyle to Lacey. And now Graham. Knowles just caught short by the ball from Brindley. And now it's with Harry Spratt, one of the York City substitutes. Notts dominated possession in this second half, but have really struggled to create things as the ball sails over Kyle Wotton's head. He chases Harry Brown into that corner. Brown plays the ball off Wotton almost, and as Kyle battles to win it back, the linesman on the far side flags for a free kick. And we enter the very final minute of normal time here at Meadow Lane. Les, what are your overall reflections on the day?
Not a lot of positives. To say the first half started at the wrong pace for me. It was very, the passing was a bit lethargic. I think if you're going to knock it about, do it briskly, quickly, and try and open up. Things just didn't work out. We conceded 2 sloppy goals, in my opinion, and then it's going to be difficult to come back from that in whatever game that you're playing. And we made a few changes. Second half has been a lot better, to be honest. And we've had so many half opportunities scoring and not being able to take them. So we've got a lot of work on this week, getting ready for Dover. But those boys out there are well capable of doing that as well. And I'm pretty sure that the manager and Greg Abbott will be working hard this week to get that right, Nick.
Absolutely, and obviously we'll be bringing you the manager's post-match thoughts this evening. We'll be speaking to Lee Curtis from the Nottingham Post. And we'll be bringing you all the build-up throughout next week ahead of our trip down to the Kent coast, where our season will get underway. You will be able to watch that one live through Dover's channels, so if you're interested in that, have a look on their website and find the information. We'll also publicise that information ourselves in the run-up to the game to make sure you know how to watch it. It is the responsibility of the home club to provide the streams in the National League. In added time here at the end of the second half, it's going to be a defeat to end pre-season for us after winning our first 3. O'Brien battling right for possession, and it's come all the way out to this right-hand side with Gamble. Back with Gamble, the substitute. Wright, who got the scoring underway for City. McLaughlin just exchanging passes with Wright, and Wright nicks it away from Chickson. Tries to swing across towards the near post, where Sean Newton was looking to get on the end of it. And now it's Jimmy Knowles using his pace to get away from his man.
Oh.
And he's just clotheslined a little bit there in what was probably could be described as a bit of an unnecessary challenge, and the referee has recognised that by bringing out the yellow card deep into stoppage time here at Meadow Lane. Michael Doyle on the free kick. Sam Graham lofts it forwards towards Kyle Wotton. He can't win the flick on. And City managed to make the clearance. And that's it then. Pre-season ends in defeat for Notts. Nevertheless, 3 wins out of 4. Today, obviously a difficult afternoon, Les. But now, it's all about the exciting build-up to next Saturday.
Yeah, one good thing to come out of it, some of the lads might not think that maybe it's gone according to plan, and this is a key week now. Heads have got to get in gear, ready for that big match on Saturday, and sometimes it's a good thing not to go into a match with nothing to worry about. Sometimes things come along and kick up the backside a little and think, oh dear, we need to do this, need to do that, and I'm pretty sure that they'll all be working hard next week to get that right.
Congratulations then to York City, a great performance, a great result, and we wish them all the very best in their National League North campaign, except against my team Darlington. Just thought I'd slip that one in there. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon, no matter where you are. Thanks for tuning in, and keep an eye on our digital channels this evening for some reaction from the game. Thanks very much for tuning in.